Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Spoilers, Recap, and Results. I'm your host, as always, PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, aka the Pro Wrestling Junkie. We are just minutes removed from this year's Clash of Champions 2019 edition, WWE's live streaming network pay-per-view, of course, where every title was defended, including an extra match that had no title at all. So we had lots of matches, lots of excitement, lots of entertaining moments and segments to talk about. So let's get into the results. The show was interesting, to say the least. Or should I say that was the most I could say. But let's go over the results, and we'll wrap it up at the end and give you my overall thought of the show and what they decided to give us as far as Clash of the Champions. Of course, Clash of the Champions comes from the NWA, WCW times where they would do these middle of the month shows on TBS where you would have matches that you wouldn't see all the time on, say, Saturday night's main event or later on Nitro. You'd get these kind of matches, of course, but it was a way of seeing something between stars versus stars, not jobbers, like you would see normal on like Saturday morning wrestling shows, because you could only see the actual big matches back in the day on pay-per-views. So that's where they got the name from, and I love it. I'm glad that they're using WCW names. Now, can we just get October to have Halloween Havoc? Why can't we get Halloween Havoc? That was one of the most awesome pay-per-views that WCW would put on. I loved the arena setup, the backdrops and the staging setups were amazing, and the name itself, Halloween Havoc, is awesome. So who knows? We've had the Bash and the Great American Bash, and then we had the Bash. We've got War Games, so why not Halloween Havoc? Who knows? Well, let's get into the recaps, results, and spoilers of tonight's WWE Clash of Champions. So we kick things off with, of course, the kickoff panel, which had Charlie Caruso, David Otunga, Coach, and Booker T. Blah. Just your normal, let's talk about what we think might happen on the show tonight, that kind of stuff. We did get a backstage segment with all three members of New Day after Big E and Woods have been MIA for a while now, ever since the Revival supposedly injured Woods, but now they're back. So we go to the ring, and we got our first match, Cruiserweight title triple threat match, Drew Gulak versus Lince Dorado versus Humberto Carrillo. Gulak sneaks in and gets a pin on Dorado with a German suplex style pin. It was botched though, and you can see and hear the ref telling Dorado, put your shoulders down so I can count. So we'll be seeing that on Botchamania very soon. Next up, we've got a U.S. title match. Yes, that's right. I stutter because it's still the kickoff, and we have the U.S. title match already. AJ Styles defending against Cedric Alexander. Why is this on the kickoff? Of all the titles, okay? Blows my mind. You have AJ Styles on the former two-time WWE champion. Oh, okay. Anyways. Styles versus Alexander. Right when the bell rings, Alexander goes for a quick pin, but AJ kicks out. AJ hits a suplex on the ring apron, followed by a Styles clash on the arena floor. Later, AJ applies the calf crusher, but Cedric Alexander is able to reach the ropes to break the hold. In the end, Styles hits the Styles Clash for the 3 count. Afterwards, AJ continues to attack Cedric, and the other members of the OC come out to assist, and they all stand over Alexander. And that's it. Now we go to the main show, and we have our first matchup on the main card. WWE Tag Team titles, the Raw Tag Team titles. Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman defending against the new tag team of Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode is setting up for the glorious DDT, but Braun comes from behind, and it really looked like they mistimed it. I don't know if Braun was late. I think it was, because Bobby's looking over his shoulder both ways, like, hey, where's Braun? It's a good 1 count, 2 count. There he is! Braun goes to attack, but Roode sidesteps. Ziggler pulls the top rope down, and Braun flips over the top out to the arena floor. Then Roode is able to hit the glorious DDT on Rollins and gets the pin. Just as he hits the 3 count, Strowman makes his way back into the ring, but he's not in time, and Ziggler and Roode are your new Raw Tag Team Champions. Afterwards, we go backstage and we see Charlie Caruso talking to Strowman, who's asking his thoughts on the outcome of this match. Strowman says, I didn't lose the titles, but later tonight, Seth Rollins will get these hands. We then see Kayla Braxton interviewing Becky Lynch, who still says that Rollins will retain his title just like she will retain her title tonight. We go back out to the ring. We got the SmackDown Women's Tag Team. We go back out to the ring, and we've got the SmackDown Women's title match. The champion Bayley defending against Charlotte. Again, right when the bell rings, Charlotte delivers a big boot for a close 2 count. Bayley is now down in the corner. Later on, Bayley is down in the corner, and she takes off the bottom turnbuckle pad. Charlotte approaches Bayley, but Bayley quickly stands up, grabs Charlotte by the back of the head, shoves her to the floor, hitting her face directly on the exposed steel. She rolls her up for a quick 1, 2, 3, and Bayley bolts it out of the ring, grabs her title, and runs to the back. But Bayley retains her title. She got the win over Charlotte, even though it was sneaky. Next matchup, we have the WWE SmackDown Tag Team title match. The champions, New Day versus The Revival. The Revival hits the Shatter Machine on Woods, then they seem to have some kind of confusion, and then finally Dawson applies a leg submission on Woods as Scott Dawson and So the Revival hit the Shatter Machine on Woods, but instead of going for the pinfall, they just kind of look around for a minute, almost like they were confused on what was going to happen next. Finally, though, Dawson applies a leg submission on Woods, and he taps out, and your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The Revival. The Revival celebrate at the top of the stage, and they get on the mic, and they predict that Orton will win the WWE title later. We go backstage and we get an interview segment with Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, the current women's tag team champions, and they talk about how they will retain their tag titles tonight. Then we see off-camera R-Truth and Carmella are holding the boom mic. R-Truth calls Alexa Bliss the other Carmella. He says he just wanted to make sure everyone could hear you well. Alexa then grabs the boom mic down to her level and says, "Hey, if anyone wants to win the 24/7 title, R-Truth is right here." And almost on cue, here we see multiple jobbers running in from the other side of the camera, and they chase off R-Truth and Carmella. We go back out to the ring, and it's time for the women's tag team title match. Champs Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Alexa is back to her Harley Quinn style and looked incredible. Midway through the match, R-Truth and Carmella and the jobbers all run into the ring. Alexa rolls up R-Truth for a quick 2 count. Then they all run into the audience, and the tag match continues. So that was the extent of the 24/7 title being defended at Clash of Champions. You have a pay-per-view where every title in your company is supposed to be defended, and that's the little bit of defending that title is during another title match. But that would have been freaking awesome if Alexa Bliss had won the 24/7 title during her title defense. That would have been amazing. But in the end, Mandy misses a running knee to Nikki Cross, who drapes Mandy over the top rope and hits a spinning neckbreaker to Mandy Rose for the pin and the win, and they are still your Women's Tag Team Champions. As they celebrate, they cut to the audience for a sign that read Bliss and Cross, but if you look around the entire arena surrounding that sign, everyone is just sitting and staring off into different directions. One guy in particular is standing right in front of that sign with his arms crossed like he is bored out of his mind. The match really, it just didn't have any kind of flavor to it. Next up, we have the Intercontinental title match, Shinsuke Nakamura versus The Miz, and we all know that the whole point of this match was they wanted to make us think they want to get Jericho off of the record for most IC title reigns, because Miz is only one away from breaking that record. So Shinsuke makes his So the Miz makes his entrance first. Sami Zayn comes out following and complains about being chokeslammed by The Undertaker. He's wearing a neck brace. He then introduces Nakamura. During the match, Sami Zayn provides his own commentary, talking on the mic around the ring, until The Miz finally grabs the mic from him and throws it up to the top of the stage. Now, during the match, Sami Zayn, of course, is trying to interfere or to cause some kind of distraction. And in the end, Miz chases Sami Zayn around the outside of the ring, and when he gets back inside, Nakamura connects with the Kinshasa for the pin, and he retains the Intercontinental title. That was a shocker. I did not expect Nakamura to keep the belt. I'm glad he did. Hopefully he will actually have a few title reigns. Okay. Hopefully he'll actually get to defend the title against some other challengers. That'll be entertaining. The announcers then share with us breaking news that broke out on Twitter earlier today, announcing that on October 11th and 14th, there will be a draft on both Raw and SmackDown to set up the brand new rosters for the new shows. Next up, we have the Raw Women's title match. Champ Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. I sent out a tweet at this time saying, please, Becky and Sasha, save us on this pay-per-view. Because honestly, up to this point, it was very lackluster. There was no excitement. Even the crowd felt like they were already spent from anything they were hoping to have from the show. I was like, please put on some kind of a decent matchup. And I think for the time they were given, they did a really good job, actually. Now, let's go into the match itself. So, Sasha hits a backstabber, followed by another one into the bank statement. Becky tries to reach the ropes, but Sasha keeps twisting. Becky's unable to roll up Sasha, but they roll into the ropes, breaking up the fall. Sasha then goes over to the timekeeper area, gets a steel chair. She throws the chair in across the ring, and then grabs another chair from underneath the ring apron. So while the referee is throwing out the first chair, Sasha hits Becky in the gut with the chair. She then runs in to try to get the pinfall, but only gets a 2 count. That was a nice little Eddie Guerrero move. Obviously, Sasha, looked up to Eddie Guerrero. So Sasha then goes outside to retrieve another steel chair and attempts to hit Becky with it, but the referee prevents it. Becky then grabs the steel chair herself. She's about to hit Sasha from behind, but Sasha ducks and hits the referee with the steel chair. The ref went down in a really bad bump, and I mean that in a poorly acted way. So Becky then hits Sasha with the steel chair. Sasha runs out of the ring, and they fight up to the top of the arena stairs. They fight into the back concession area. Then they come around to the other stairwell and come down and keep fighting. We then see that the referee is still knocked out in the ring from when they're up at the top. They brawl back to the outside of the ring. Sasha rolls Becky back in. Sasha grabs a steel chair to bring into the ring as she tries to hit Becky. Instead, Becky kicks her in the gut, grabs the chair, and strikes Sasha with it on her back multiple times. Becky then puts Sasha in the disarmor while sitting on the steel chair, which was nice. And we get multiple referees at this point finally coming out, and they get inside the ring. They get Becky to release the submission hold. The crowds begin chanting, "Let them fight, let them fight." And we never get an official bell to end the match at this point. Instead, the officials just tell Becky to get your title and leave. As Becky is walking up the ramp, then the announcer declares that because Becky hit the official with the chair, she has been disqualified, and the winner is Sasha. However, titles do not change via disqualification. It has to be setting up Hell in a Cell, Becky versus Sasha rematch. I would not be disappointed. I would love to see them in a Hell in a Cell. So now we have our come-down match, which is the WWE title, which, when did the WWE title become a come-down match? So we have Kofi Kingston defending against Orton. The announcers tried to play this up like this was a feud 10 years in the making, all because of back in 2009 when Orton completely broke character, broke the fourth wall, had a little hissy fit in the ring for all these other things, and then, politicked his way backstage to get Kofi's push, halted, and now they're making fun of it and saying there's just that rumor. No, it actually was true. It happened, but it is what it is. They'll take anything that they can make a storyline out of. So Orton hits the RKO on Kofi, but he gets his foot on the rope to break the pinfall account. So Orton hits the RKO, but Kofi gets his foot on the rope to break the count. Orton goes for the punt kick, but Kofi ducks and hits Trouble in Paradise for a very rare clean pin on Orton. Overall, though, the match was not very eventful. Next, we go backstage and we see the Street Profits cheering backstage for Kofi. They hype the King of the Ring finals. They predict that Chad Gable will win, which means he won't. They compare him winning the King of the Ring tournament to the Lion King, because, the live-action Lion King is in theaters right now. Then we see Booker T walk into frame wearing a cape, a crown, and holding a scepter, and he busts out his terrible King Booker accent from 12 years ago. Angelo Dawkins then asks Booker to knight him. Booker says there's something wrong with y'all and walks away, gets back in front of them again and goes, "Now can you dig that sucker?" And that's it. So then we go back out to the ring. And it is time for the Roman Reigns versus Rowan in a no DQ match. Second to last match, not the final one of the night. Interesting. Yet they had to have the U.S. title on a kickoff show. So Roman and Rowan brawl outside using kendo sticks and the steel steps. Later, Rowan lifts Roman right up onto his shoulders and delivers a powerbomb to Roman through the announce table. That was very impressive. He then rolls Roman in for a quick 2 count. They brawl back outside into the audience. Rowan ends up hitting the Iron Claw through another table. Rowan then attempts to throw the camera crane at the top of the stage into Roman, but Roman picks up a metal pole and strikes Rowan, then hits Rowan with the camera crane, followed by a Superman punch. Reigns now goes for a spear on the ramp, but out of nowhere, Luke Harper appears and hits a big boot to Roman. Rowan and Harper double team Roman back into the ring. Harper hits a clothesline, then Rowan follows it up with another Iron Claw, and he pins Roman Reigns for the win. By the way, Harper looked very slimmed down compared to the last time we saw him, but I'm so happy that Luke Harper is back. He's one of the best wrestlers in a while, I think, for a big man that can do a lot of great things. I really wish they had given him a better run when he was the Intercontinental Champion a few years back, but I'm very excited that he is back. I just don't know what they're going to do with him and Rowan. I mean, they were the Wyatt family, they were the Bludgeon Brothers. Now what? It's like they're just, is Rowan, first of all, is Rowan still going to be doing the whole vegan recycling gimmick thing? I mean, are they going to be called the Recycling Brothers? That's what I think. So what is it they're going to call them? What is it they're going to do with them? Are they just putting them back together again to be tag champs? If anything, bring back the Wyatt family. Forget the Bludgeon Brother. That thing was blah. I didn't care for that. But bring back the Wyatt family. Why not? And last but not least, we have the main event, Universal title match. Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman, the battle of the former tag team champions. So Rollins started this matchup similar to how he fought Brock. As soon as the bell rang, he started throwing everything he could at Strowman. Quick hits for quick pinfall attempts. Strowman goes for a running shoulder tackle outside the ring, but Rollins sidesteps, and that sends Strowman with his momentum over the announce table. Later on, Rollins is attempting a superplex to Strowman back into the ring, but Strowman pushes Seth off of the turnbuckle. Braun gets onto the top rope, and it looked like it was a little dicey, like he was almost going to lose his balance. I really thought he was going to fall to the outside, but he manages to connect with a splash, but when he landed, it looked like he hurt his knee, so he tweaked his knee a little bit. But he does land the move, which was impressive. Rollins then hits a stomp for a 1-count pinfall attempt. He hits another stomp for a 2-count. A third stomp for another 2-count. Then Rollins hits a pedigree and a 4th stomp to get the final pin and retain the Universal title. Rollins celebrates his win. We see him walking up to the top of the stage. They even put the coming up next on the network, a Sasha Banks Chronicles episode. So we're going to see her talk about why she was gone for the past 5 months to come back and change her hair color and whatnot. But then they bring up on the other side of the screen the logo that says, trademark note. So you're thinking, okay, the show's wrapping up. So Rollins is standing at the top of the ramp. He faces the audience. He goes to lift the title over his head, and just as he's raising the belt over his head, the lights go out. The spotlights pop up, and we have a close-up of The Fiend and his mask, and the music starts playing, and then we see a bigger view of where he's standing, and he has Rollins set up in the Sister Abigail. He connects the Sister Abigail on the ramp, kneels down, holds his hand to his head like he's hearing voices or hearing something, and then he applies the mandible claw to Rollins and begins screaming. It was really a nice throwback to the way Mankind, when he first started doing the mandible claw and attacking people, he would just start, rambling and screaming random whatevers. Then the cameras are just fixated on the Fiend and Rollins. You see the Fiend stand up. Rollins is in a seated position at the knee of the Fiend, but the Fiend's standing. And he's got Rollins by the head, like it's almost like he's holding Rollins' severed head kind of thing, but he's holding his hair, and he's just standing there in a very awesome pose, and then the lights go off, and the show goes off the air, and that's it. So that's all we see of the Fiend, but obviously this is setting up Rollins versus the Fiend at Hell in a Cell. Maybe it's going to be in the cell, I don't know. Obviously, if that's the case, the Fiend's going to be your new Universal Champion. You cannot have him do this much build-up for this character, and then he gets straight shot into the title picture and then loses to Rollins. So this has to end with the Fiend winning the title and keeping that title for a very long time. So that's it. That is the full So there we go. That's the full recap, spoilers, and results of WWE Clash of the Champions, or Clash of Champions. I keep wanting to say Clash of the Champions, okay? I know it's a movie title, but Clash of Champions. So, what did everyone that's listening, what did you think of the show? Interesting? Was it, compelling enough for you? Did you see anything coming? Did you happen to know this was going to happen? Share with me your thoughts and comments below in the comment section. So, as always, whenever I am posting one of these videos, I always let you know that on Twitter you can send me questions. You can either comment on the post where I let you know I'm going to be recording the video, and you can send me questions or topics, or you can also just directly message me them, directly DM me, and I will give your shout out through there. So got a few from some interesting folks out here. So we got a few questions sent in. So let's start off with, we got one from Kevin Haig. Hey, PCJ, just a few questions for your recap show. Who's your favorite tag team, be it from WWE or AEW? Well, I primarily watch WWE right now. Okay, I haven't really been able to watch a whole lot of AEW, even though their show hasn't started yet. They've had a couple of pay-per-views, but I haven't been able to watch all the pay-per-views. I didn't even get a chance to watch the most recent one. I don't have the ability to do that sometimes. But WWE, I'm a big fan of the Revival. I just didn't like how they've been treating them for a while. I'm glad that they've got the tag belts, but I hope they don't become Orton's little lackeys like they did with Legacy, which killed DiBiase and Rhodes, in my opinion. But I like Heavy Machinery. I also like No. Shh. Quiet. Hey. Shh. Quiet. No. Quiet. So right now, there really aren't a whole lot of tag teams in WWE. There's some makeshift ones where they're just throwing people together, a.k.a. the current Raw champions, Ziggler and Rude. I really had a lot of high hopes for McIntyre and Ziggler whenever they were tag team champs. I really liked the pairing of them, but that's gone away now. But other teams that are around still, Revival, awesome. Gallows and Anderson, also a lot of potential, but again, they're just not being used right sometimes. The Revival, of course, Authors of Pain. Those are ones right there. I'm just tired of New Day and Usos. They've been shoved down our throats so much, and then it's like when you put them over everyone else, you don't have anyone else worthy to be champions, and when they are, it's like, why weren't you building these other teams up? But anyways, yeah, I would say right now my favorite team in WWE would be the Revival, probably. Kevin also asked, if you could take one star from WWE to go to AEW, who would it be, and vice versa, going from AEW to WWE? Well, WWE to AEW, there's quite a few I would be like, I think you'd do excellent if you were given the freedom. Cesaro, Kevin Owens, those are two names right there alone. If given the freedom to just be the great character, wrestlers that they could be, I think they could be huge stars. But unfortunately, they're so heavily scripted, and they're stuck with certain areas that they're allowed to go with their character. It's just it really limits the possibilities. So I would say those two right there. From AEW to WWE, if we could get away from the way WWE's run right now and bring it back 20 years ago, then I would say bring back Jericho, bring back Moxley, bring back Cody Rhodes, and Goldust, because those are the ones right there that I know for sure I'm going to be entertained by and want to watch them in different feuds and championship reigns and so forth. So that would be my picks there. Taylor asked, what was your favorite match of the entire show? I think I really enjoyed the Sasha Banks-Becky Lynch match, even though we didn't get a clear finish, but it's going to lead on to something else at Hell in a Cell for sure, so I'm looking forward to that. Michigan Man asked, how would you properly book Seth Rollins and The Fiend? Well, if that's actually where they're going to go, I would just have The Fiend, show up a very limited amount of time. I want Rollins to be consistently worried and wondering, where is the Fiend? Is he going to show up? I want Rollins to just go insane. I want him to be completely consumed by the fear and thoughts that the Fiend can get me at any point, and I'm now trapped inside Hell in a Cell with him. If that's where they go with this, it could be a regular match, but I think it needs to be a Hell in a Cell. But I want to see Rollins actually feeling fear from this, feud. So that's where I would book it. All right, everybody, that's all the questions this week for this episode of Spoilers, Recap, and Results. Remember, as always, follow me on Twitter, PopCultureJunk2. I'm live tweeting during every WWE Network show, from pay-per-views to takeovers and so forth. So you can follow me on there, check out whatever I'm thinking. I'll be tweeting it right then and there. And if you want to leave me questions or topics to address in future prediction videos, as well as spoilers, recap, and results, just do so through Twitter. Well, everyone, if you did watch the show, hope you enjoyed it. Let me know, please, again, share your thoughts and comments below as far as what you thought of the actual show, and do you think they were able to pull off a compelling Clash of the Champions show, or Clash of Champions, whatever. All right, guys and gals, this is going to be it for me tonight. I'm wrapping it up. Take care. Thank you for listening. I hope you'll tune in again. This is PCJ, the Pop Culture Junkie, signing out.